Yes, we're going to talk about poison today. It's all on you, baby. And now, when we talk about poison, as I mentioned to you before, you may have heard this, what does drive me, that question I asked you guys a lot, but what drives you? What drives me is music. So even the topic for today, this title for this episode, Poison, it does bring up, as a sidebar perspective, I think that group in the 80s, Belle Biv DeVoe, I think they had a song called Poison. I think they're talking about women, but let that go for now. But also, I'd say the term poison also calls up another song from the mid-'80s, I believe it was also, by a rapper, Melly Mel. Talk about Don't Do It. The great rap song of the 80s by Melly Mel. I think it was called White Lines. If I can insert it here, a little snippet to remind you when he says, don't do it. Don't do it.
Baby. Baby. Jack Horner sitting on the corner with no shoes and clothes. This ain't funny, but he took his money and sniffed it up his nose.
Hey man, you want cops and blue?
Sure, what you got? Dust flakes and rocks.
I got China White, Mother Pearl, Ivory Flake. What you need?
Oh yeah, check it out, man. Just let me get a freeze.
Go ahead, man.
Do it.
Kill you.
Yeah, man, that's wrong.
We will discuss in this episode today 2 types of poison. The type you imbibe or take in to your body, and the type that you put out either from your mouth or from your thoughts or observations. Those thoughts or observations are spoken aloud, or you just consider them silently in your head, but never from your heart. Those kind of things, that kind of poison doesn't come from your heart. That's from your head. And no, I don't mean the kind of poison you put in the toilet after an intake of too much poison. That's just excrement. I mean the expression coming from you. I know I just mentioned the idea of thought, and I've stated the answer to my question about observation and not thinking or thought. If you recall, I was reciting and recalling for you in a book I read, The 3 Magic Words, where Mr. U.S. Anderson was saying that we, individuals, human beings, we do not think. We could only observe and choose, decide, and pursue those particular parts of that constant stream coming through and into your mind. Which again, why it is critical for you to align your defined desire, your discipline, and your drive with what truly drives you and your beauty. I've given you examples from my humble perspective, but you have to define that for yourself. Feel free to use my example of what not to do ever. Use it as your low-level baseline, to step over into you. Don't use me as an example or an example of what not to do, if you will. But also, talk and make the time and space to figure that out for yourself. Now, let's go forward with this poison discussion. Those 2 types I mentioned to you before. One, the type that you take in actually and physically in the form of substances or liquids like rat poison or heroin or cocaine or alcohol. Many examples there. You have the choice to take that stuff in mostly voluntarily or occasionally through peer pressure, imagined pressure, or maybe sometimes enhanced interrogation. I'm just saying. But any way that it gets into you, the result always remains within you and with you. Not even with someone who may have suggested or given you said poison. You always retain the opportunity and the resilience to not do that to yourself. I know. That's easier said than done if you're in a fantastic and raucous party scene. Because when in Rome, as they say, ... I wonder if they also included the conditions when Rome is on fire during that kind of a party. I don't know. But let's continue with the other poison intake option. The poison floating around you in the world right now. You see it, you hear it, you sense it, you're kinda aware of it. And sometimes you and I take it in as fact and truth, judge and jury. And then you repost it or you restate it in your own way, using that questionable source as the reason for doing it, spewing out some vitriol or bitterness towards someone that can't hear you anyway, like the other driver in the car who appeared to jump in front of you at the gas station or in traffic, or under your breath in the restaurant to the server or to another customer who acts and looks a bit different than you. So you render a judgment and statement about that human being that you have no or very limited knowledge about. But you just had to get it off your chest and let them and the whole world know and recognize your important displeasure with the situation right now. They and the world don't care about your monologue. They and the world, as the targets of your monologue, they do not and will not care. And here's the kicker. That thing I'm calling the karmic rule and law. That stuff, that poison that you put out there, coming from you, just like the external poison example, starts with and comes back to you. Same effect. Karma is a bitch. It will not neglect its parent. So now you know. You put it out there, it's coming back to you. Don't do it. Choose positive and yes and love over poison. Make it positive and love and make it a productive statement about something outside of you if you must say anything about the situation. Otherwise, let it go. And check your intentions before you observe yourself as the guide or judge and jury on something you have no jurisdiction over. Start with yourself on what you take in, what you do, what you say. I believe you have the best forward movement in your journey with that approach. But please, let me know how it works for you on that poison situation. Stay present. Stay current. No matter where you are in this world, please remember, and do tell someone, hey, it's always 820.